the biggest effects actually, you start seeing them after the second year of investment or third year of investment, because then you've spent the time and resources in building the brand.
Obviously, they're sort of, every marketer likes what they do, or even if you're not a fan of the product or the people behind it or whatever, you can admire sort of the brand control and building of Apple and Nike and stuff. Do those kind of principles of having that long-term game and patience, do that apply in, ordinary B2B businesses or SMEs?
Definitely, Paul. Actually, you cannot succeed with your business if you're just focusing on short-term results. I mean, of course, if you run ads, Facebook ads, or paid ads, you would get some return on investment, but just a short-term effect. And I mean, in my day-to-day work, what I see is that if you actually invest in building a brand, like making great videos, participating in events, building communities, interacting with important stakeholders, then over time, you don't need actually to spend so much time on advertising, because people would come to you all naturally because they've heard about your company, they've heard about all the great products and services. And also there is the word of mouth, like people speak to each other and recommend great companies to work for. So like the long-term strategy is the winning strategy, even if it's very difficult actually to get the buy-in from the leadership always, because they want to have immediate rewards, that that the sales pipeline is great, and we're having X number of leads and closing customers, and this is of course we're gonna focus on, but like having what I call the 40-60 focus, 40% demand gen, 60% brand building. This is what yields good results over time. So sometimes like I get these skeptical questions from the CEOs or the chief revenue officers. We need customers now, or where are the customers? And what I used to say actually to them is that, well, if we don't invest in brand building while driving demand gen campaigns, we'll get maybe 2 or 3 customers now, but what about 6 months? So you have always to think about the present and the future, and invest even more in the future than the present.
I'm going to just loop back to the intro. We've dived straight into the topic, so we were rolling recording just before. So welcome to Avidly Talks.
Thank you.
Today we're mostly marketing focused podcast. Amina, you're CMO at COM4. Tell us a bit about COM4 and what they do and what your role is there.
Yes. COM4 is an IoT provider company, IoT connectivity provider company. That means that we provide IoT telecom services to companies that deploy IoT devices. So we serve different verticals, whether it's fleet management companies or predictive maintenance companies. So it's actually at the intersection of telecom and tech. So I work in a highly technical environment. Most of people that work at COM4, they're engineers. So it's a quite funny environment to be in as a marketeer.
You're the only marketeer, if I remember correctly, in-house.
Yes. But I work with different great agencies, thankfully, and among them Avidly, that have been helping us with both the rebranding of the websites and building the websites, and some of the content strategy and different parts of marketing.
And we're also going to be working together again at Nordic Growth Summit when this goes out in just a few weeks. I think it was 4 weeks yesterday, actually, on day of recording.
Very excited to be there. We're going to meet a lot of great people with great minds.
Have you finalised your talk slides yet, your talk track?
I have some good outlines of what I'm going to be talking about. So this is quite finalized, and then I think I need to go through it and make it ready.
Just like me. Never have it finished. It's working in the back of the mind 4 weeks out.
Exactly.
But you are going to be talking about at Nordic Growth Summit the ROI of patience, and that's kind of the topic we've just dive straight into. Let's go back to it. So you were talking there about balancing short-term needs, long-term growth building, and then you talked about I don't know, the classic brands that everybody points to: Apple, Nike, Adidas. These have such strong brands and brand affinity and loyalty, and they can don't know, sort of. It allows a lot more things that people like us at a regular business don't often maybe think they get to do. Do you think that's true, or do you think there's still bits where actually brand is the key for long-term growth? And how do you build it in sort of, like in your setting, in the tech space that you're in that little slice of the pie? How do you build a strong brand that builds long-term growth?
Well, I think what is very interesting is that, like, when the leadership makes a decision to recruit marketeers in the tech companies, many of them, they think, oh, the sales are not selling enough, so we need to have a marketeer doing the sales job. And I think that's where.
What do you mean?
We need to have greater pipeline. So we need to recruit a marketeer, and from day one, we're gonna close more deals, and they're gonna bring into the company more opportunities. Customers. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think at the start of my career in different tech companies, I've been using a lot of time explaining to the leadership team, like, how marketing works, that you need to balance what you've been saying, like the short-term tactics and the long-term brand building that would yield great results over time. So maybe in the first year, of course, marketing will help with the pipeline, with getting some results, but the biggest effects, actually, you start seeing them after the second year of investment or third year of investment, because then you've spent the time and resources in building the brand. So this is from my experience from different companies. When you just start working in a new company, both the sales and the leadership team, the CEOs, they expect to have results right away. And you get some results. It's not that you don't get some good results from the first or second month, but the greatest results you can start seeing them after some time, and you have to give it. And why waiting for the magic to happen? Then you need to invest in long-term strategies, and by long-term strategies I mean SEO. You have to focus on doing some research about the right keywords to focus on, what kind of backlinks you need to have on your website, the visuals that you display on different platform, whether it's your websites or physical buildings, etc. And community building, like getting the right partners, working with thought leadership, publishing great articles and interviews in key publications. So you need to think about all this. And even if, sometimes I start laughing because after we publish a press release, some of the team members, they would ask me, how many customers have you gotten after the press release have been published? And I'm like, well, it will take some time. We will see the effect maybe some time. It's very difficult to measure, but we know that working constantly and in a very structured way, that's what actually result in the best marketing effect.
How do you have when you're reporting to the rest of the C-suite? Do you have a metric or KPI that is sort of tracking the long-term growth? Because, like you say, that I've just done a podcast this morning with the AI avatar of Brian Halligan, co-founder of HubSpot, and I watched a video from Rand Fishkin, Spark Toro this morning as well around sentiment and the micro consumption of content that people go through. That all you used to be able to, like I say used to, like it was years ago, 5 years ago, you could track every inch of the way, but now you can't really do that. So how are you sort of reporting on the effectiveness of some of the softer plays or smaller plays that build and compound over time?
Well, actually, as you're saying, the leadership, they would always look at the pipeline and the number of leads generated and the closed customers. In my leadership meetings, I always try to show like the organic traffic, like the evolution, the development of the traffic compared to the month before, the year before. And also I do a lot of benchmarking studies. I benchmark like our organic traffic compared to the competitors, the keywords, and also the sentiment as you're mentioning. And there are some tools actually that you can use to assess the brand awareness. And one of these tools that I think that have been developed by HubSpot. And it's free, so it's great actually, because before, when I was working for large companies like Equinor and Coca-Cola, you have to invest millions to get these studies done. But now today with HubSpot tools, you can get some sense of your brand equity through using simple tools like those developed by HubSpot.
Yeah, the AI brand sentiment tool. I can't remember what it's called exactly. We'll have to get that exactly right. But yeah, it's clever. I watched a webinar this week about that from the HubSpot team, and it came from, their name escapes me, but a lady there at HubSpot who was tracking it for HubSpot and thought there must be a quicker and easier way, and they've built a way and then turned it into a tool. What's different actually? I didn't have this in the notes, but I forgot that you told me before about working at Coca-Cola, and now you're at a B2B business, and then talk about sort of long-term brand building. Coca-Cola's probably, I can't think of another brand that's as more recognisable rather. What are the similarities and differences from a more normal marketing approach, normal companies approach like yours now, versus the big glossy sort of powerful brands?
Yeah, well, when you work for a powerful brand, they have a $1 billion brand that is established. So the way you drive your marketing is totally different from a tech company, where to survive as a company, you need to have X number of new customers each month. So for Coca-Cola, we used to drive this like a global marketing campaigns, and also the channels are very different. Like with Coca-Cola, you use TV and radio and newspapers, and also in like metro stations and train stations, you have great billboards, and so like the channels and the way of driving marketing is completely different from tech companies. While for example, in COM4, we have very much focus on digital marketing and events, because these are like channels where it's easy to attract customers to the brand, and especially for not a so well-known brand.
Do you, comparatively to probably the most famous brand in the world, are there any similarities internally, no matter the company, in your experience, when it comes to what marketing's doing and how it's contributing?
Well, I think as for all businesses, at the end of the day, you need to grow and you need to to have enough revenue to survive as a company. So I think that the end game is the same, whether it's Coca-Cola, Apple, Nike, or Microsoft, or a small tech company in Finland. Yeah, so for me, it's like there are not so many differences among businesses. But of course, when you have established brand, it's much easier to drive marketing than when you're not known at all, and then you need to build everything from scratch.
So building that up then, you talked about a 40-60 split, 40 demand gen, 60 brand building kind
Exactly.
of plays. That's the on the face of it seems the other way around than most people would want to approach. Is that deliberate?
Well, this is what actually, I believe in science, and that's what science have been showing us. I mean, even if you're tempted as a marketeer because you have this people behind you pushing you to do that, you're tempted to go for the opposite. But you know that, okay, if you don't use 60% of your resources on the long-term strategies, then in 6 months, you're gonna have problems. In 1 year, you're gonna get problems. You're not gonna be able to meet all the KPIs that the business has set for you. So of course, even if you have this really pushback from like the departments around you, but you need to be strong as a marketeer and say, hey, we need. I mean, though it seems easy to surrender to the temptation, but over time, it's not like a winning strategy.
And exhausting.
Of course, it's very exhausting because then it's just like you're just running on a hamster wheel all the time. While I mean, when you invest in the right way, then you can just lean back at some point and you can see the results coming to you without stressing the marketing team or the agencies around you.
So about that, taking a step back and measuring sort of the long-term success then. So if you can we'll come on to getting the buy-in for this approach in a moment. So measuring that long-term success, what are the right sort of metrics to be looking at?
So we talked about the traffic metrics. It's a very important metrics.
How do you do that in today's lens though, with sort of traffic being so scattered and sources being so scattered?
Well, you can use great tools like SEMrush and HubSpot to do that. And for example, in SEMrush, you can track, traffic and also Google Analytics, like traffic from different sources, whether it's from SoMe or it's from organic search or paid ads, etc. And it will gives you a very good idea about like how you're getting your traffic. And then I see when like the organic traffic starts equaling the traffic coming from ads, then I think it's a KPI about the health of your marketing. Because if all your traffic is coming from paid sources, then there is a problem. Then you're not working enough on the brand building side. Just you have traffic, and you have also other KPIs like the site authority that you can check with the SEMrush. Also, like there are different KPIs regarding the keywords and organic search, etc. That you can track all these through SEMrush and analytics.
You mentioned events earlier as well as a part of what you do at COM4, and it's something we do as well. Tell us about what kind of events you're doing and why, so that people can sort of take any learnings and ideas from what you're doing that's working.
Well, actually, it's a very interesting question, and I think it will drive me back to the work we've been doing with you, Avidly, when we started building the brand for COM4. So one of the focus areas was actually to select the right personas for COM4. And what we've find out after some research is that the personas for COM4, they're highly technical people. It's like the CTO, the engineers. There are these people actually that contact us and ask us about services and products. So then, when we start there with the personas, then it makes the task much easier to select the right events because you need to meet these profiles. And these profiles, you'll meet them at technical events or events that are focused on like the telecommunication industry or the connectivity industry. And it's also at the intersection of hardware, connectivity, software, AI, cloud. So then you need to map all events that are where you can meet the right profiles for your business. So that's how we work at COM4.
And that's approaching, or what is that, sponsoring at third-party events? Is it arranging to meet prospect? What, are you speaking at them? Like, are you putting on your own events, or all the above?
We do all of this. So we, for example, now are going to the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. It's a big telecom congress where we're gonna be meeting peers, partners, other MNOs and MVNOs, and also customers, like companies that we've been working with and that we're still working with. And we do also our own events like webinars and podcasts as we're running now. And we do also, for me, it's like thought leadership is of the utmost importance because like showing all the technical expertise that we have internally is a great way of marketing COM4. So we have partnerships with different platforms like IoT for All, IoT Now, where we run webinars, podcasts, and also we have interviews and articles published.
Nice. Are you consciously doing more of that in sort of this more weirdly more disconnected age and more competitive online landscape? Are you deliberately doing more sort of in-person stuff?
Yes, definitely. And again, it's a very, it's a very interesting question because I would always get the question before the event and after the event, how many leads and how many customers. But for me, it's like it's part of the brand building. It's part of the brand awareness because when you have your logo displayed on these types of events, your stand showing the brand and showing all the great solutions that the company is delivering. Even if you can't prove it right away, like how many customers we've been able to attract, but all the time people would they won't forget COM4, and when they need some type of solutions and products that COM4 can deliver, then they would contact us.
Absolutely. And then it's making sure you've got a robust or clear way of tracking this building over time, which we've talked about. Obviously, the last piece of the puzzle really is getting a culture right in the business to trust this longer term process. How do you go about building that?
It's actually a marathon. So yeah, it is, and it's like a daily work. But over time, people start understanding the importance of doing it this way. Yeah, like as I said, like the first, when you start working with a new team, the first months are quite tough, because they expect results right away and rewards, and they need also to, to report to the board the results, and um, but then when they start seeing, and that's actually my CEO has been saying that to me, is that now after 3 years of investment, now we can see the the return on investment, because we don't need to, like I can say that 50% of the leads that we get, relevant leads, they don't come from paid advertising. They come from organic search, or the customers call us or contact us directly. And so without like all the long-term efforts, I think this wouldn't happen for COM4.
What are the signs that you see in the buy-in to the approach grow from those around you?
The science of the buy-in is very simple. Is actually more budget to marketing,
Yeah,
and also recruiting more marketeers to the company. I see that happening now.
nice.
That the leadership is willing to invest more in what we're doing, and also they believe that having internal resources that are committed to the company and to reaching the goals is as important as recruiting another engineer or another salesperson.
And you're going to dive into this topic in some more specifics and more depth in a few weeks' time. I was going to say 4 weeks. It's 4 weeks on the day of recording, but obviously this won't quite be going out today. Yeah, so join us at Nordic Growth Summit and see Amina along with 9 other brilliant speakers diving into these topics. The ROI of patience is what you'll explore. What's something somebody can do? I normally say, at the end of these, what's something somebody can do this week to get started with this? But let's be more patient. What's something they could get done in the next quarter to help build this longer term approach at the business?
I think you need to have to be courageous as a marketeer. So when meeting your leadership team, and when you get questions, then you need to show courage and believe. For me, it's like marketing is like a religion. You need to believe in the effects of long-term marketing. You need to have faith in what you're doing. So having like the courage and the strength of fighting for your expertise and the area in the company, I think is key here. So that would be my advice to anyone who would start this quarter.
I get that. I appreciate that as well, and communicating it out as well. I'd
course.
layer on top of that. I think we as the marketing function in a business we look at this every day, but other people only really look at it when we talk about these things, so we can drive this home as well. I think it'd be my 2 pence to add to that brilliant tip. So if you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave us a comment and 5-star review. Make sure you head to nordicgrowthsummit.tech to come and see Amina, and head to com4.no to check out more of the services if that's relevant to you and you're a partner for IoT connectivity. But just out of interest, it's a lovely website as well. Right, thanks very much, Amina. Been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you very much, Paul. Really pleasure talking to you.
See you again in a few weeks.
Hey, did you enjoy this episode? Then be sure to leave us a comment, a review, and hit that follow button. See you next episode.